Hi everybody, Richard Shelp with Executive Speakers Bureau, and welcome to our third edition of Behind the Curtain. In Behind the Curtain, we teach you two things. First of all, we provide you with interesting insights into some of our favorite speakers. And secondly, we teach you just a little something about the speaking business. Now, today's guests are Dr. Brent Ridge and Josh Kilmer-Purcell. They are the Beekman 1802 guys, and these guys literally from scratch built a $200 million company that many people know who they are, especially those avid watchers of QVC. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Josh and Brent.
Hi neighbors, hi Richard.
Great to have you guys here. Great to have you guys here. We absolutely love it. So first of all, I just want to talk to you a little bit about how this all came to be. How did you guys build up this great empire? How did it happen?
Well, it happened by accident, really. Brent was a physician in New York City, and I was a writer and worked in advertising. And we've been a couple for 23 years now. And back in 2006, we were driving in upstate New York, and we found this beautiful little town, beautiful little farm that we fell in love with. We bought this farm as a weekend getaway. And then shortly after we did that, we got a letter in our mailbox from a man named Farmer John, a neighbor who was losing his farm. He had nowhere to bring his goats, and he wanted to bring them to our farm. And we said yes, which was a great thing because 2 years later, the big recession of 2008, we both lost our jobs in the city and had to start over.
And so we Googled, what can we make with goat milk? And watched a YouTube video and worked with our neighbor, soap maker Deb, and started making goat milk soap. And then once we heard feedback from our neighbors about how great their skin was responding to the goat milk soap, then we just started researching what were the properties of goat milk that were making it so great for the skin. And that has been 15 years and 50 million bars of soap later. Here we are talking to you.
That is incredible, guys. And you make it sound so simple, but there was so much to it because I've heard so much about the story, which is great. But you think about all the wonderful things that happened throughout that process. What are you guys most proud of?
Well, maybe we'll have different answers. I'm not sure, but I'll say mine first. My thing I'm most proud about is that we truly grew our company neighbor by neighbor by neighbor. We never had a celebrity spokesperson. We never took out flashy ads. It was making a quality product, putting the research into making the quality product, people using it, and then they having such a great response to it that they felt compelled to tell someone else about it. We were a true kitchen table brand that grew by word of mouth. And I think there's no stronger way to build a brand than that way.
And I would say the thing I'm most proud of is the amount of kindness that us and our team have been able to put out in the world, because that is the core tenet of Beekman 1802 is kindness. And we've been able to build a company that we're proud of, that is kind internally, externally with our customers. And I think that's the best way to do business.
Going to the kindness thing, can you each name one thing that happened from a kindness perspective that really engulfs the meaning of kindness that you guys have been involved with?
You mean from our business standpoint?
Yeah, from a business standpoint.
Well, I will say, and maybe this is both business and community related. When we first started our company in Little Sharon Springs, New York, which is a tiny little village in the center of New York State, we said, okay, as we grow our business, how can we help everyone else in the community as well so that we can all grow together? It was a very impoverished area of upstate New York, very rural and agricultural. And we saw all these great farmers and making all this great produce and dairy. And we're like, oh, well, city people, which is where we had come from, they'll pay a lot of money for these things. Why don't we start a harvest festival? And so we started a harvest festival. The first year, about 500 people came. And we thought that was a big success because there were only 547 people in the whole village. So for an additional 500 people to come, that was a big win. The next year, word had spread, and over 5,000 people came to the Harvest Festival in the second year. And at the time, we only had 1.5 restaurants in Sharon Springs. And by the end of the day of the 2-day festival, there was like no food left in any restaurant in like 50-mile radius.
And then we saw a visitor walking around with hot dogs and hamburgers, and we said, where'd you get that from? And it turns out one of our neighbors in the village had driven 40 miles to the nearest grocery store, bought all of their hot dogs, hamburgers, buns, coleslaw, everything, brought it home and gave it out to the people visiting town because they knew how hard people had worked to get people into town. They wanted to make sure people went home with that same feeling of kindness. So it is those acts of kindness, small acts of kindness along the way that have built our company.
And what's interesting to me is the kindness that you were involved in breeded additional kindness that people passed on to others. Kindness is kind of catchy, isn't it?
That's right. It starts a ripple effect. And, we say when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you do your skin routine, with any of our products, that act of self-kindness starts a ripple effect. You go out into the world feeling a little bit better, presenting yourself a little bit better, and that spreads.
I would totally agree with you. That is fantastic. Fantastic. Well, you guys are great guys. You're already teaching us some things about our own lives, but now let's do a little more teaching for the audience that's out there. One of the things that I've noticed that is so great about your presentation styles is that you guys are clearly your genuine selves when you're presenting. So often, speakers feel that they have to take on a special persona when they're speaking. Can you explain to me and our viewers, what is it that you guys do that makes sure that you're truly authentic in being your authentic selves when you're presenting?
That's a good question. Well, we always say we are not actors and we are not performers, and God bless you if you are, but that is not one of our God-given talents. But I do think that there was a point in time where a very professional, very slick presentation was what people wanted when they had a speaking keynote or a speaking engagement. But you have to think, everybody in the audience who's at your talk, they're the same people who are scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok, which we all know is very user-generated content. It's very lo-fi. And the customer right now, that same person who's sitting in that audience, is responding to that type of authentic presentation style. And so when they're sitting in the audience to hear you talk, they want that same thing. And so you really have to look at what's happening culturally and adapt your presentation style to deliver what the person who's watching you is wanting to receive.
I think we're actually, it helps us having being a couple and speaking together, because we can keep each other in check. If Brent is going off down a path that I don't think is authentic or isn't resonating with me personally, I can veer him down towards another path. But I think if you are a singular speaker and you don't have another person, I think a great way to do that is to rehearse with someone who is very close to you, who's not afraid to tell you things, who's not afraid to interrupt you, because that will get you back on that track of being your authentic self.
And just so everybody knows, when these guys present, they are so authentic that they actually finish each other's sentences a lot of times, don't you guys?
It's true. It's true. We have grown our company together. We've been together for 23 years, have worked together 24/7 for 15 years. So we are inside one another's brains, that's for sure.
Scary as that is.
That can be scary, but it also can be a great thing, guys. There is no doubt about it. Well, I could sit here and talk to you guys forever, but I think we've learned some great stuff today, and I just thank you guys for taking a few minutes to be our guests today. So first of all, thank you, Brent and Josh.
Oh, thank you, Richard. And for everybody watching who's a speaker, go out there and educate and entertain.
And spread kindness.
Absolutely. That is so important. And thank you, audience. Thank you, audience, for your attention. And you guys stay tuned for future episodes when you will truly find out what's behind the curtain. Thank you.